Hello, this is Lou Dolphin here for my Sentinels weekly, well, not weekly one-shot, Sentinels Fridays, week number 3. This is actually happening at 10:42 p.m. on Friday, November 25th, 2016. I'm actually doing this later than I did the previous 2, and so by the time this video is processed and, well, uploaded, then processed, and then published on YouTube, it will almost certainly be Saturday. So technically it's Sentinel Saturdays, but on Friday, or recording on Friday, upload on Saturday. I've been trying to do these on Fridays, but this week was a little different due to Thanksgiving yesterday, just getting in the way. Thanksgiving's awesome, but in any case, what I've been doing with these so far is to tackle weekly one-shots. Rather the early ones. I've been doing the weekly one-shot videos, obviously, every Monday. But I didn't record videos for the first several. I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The first 8 were completely omitted because I didn't bother recording videos for them. I started with 9, actually. I started streaming them and then sending them to YouTube, and then I just eventually decided to do it locally just because it was easier for me. Don't have to read chat, can focus on the game better, just was more fluid to record and play the games. But anyway, we're going back and taking on the weekly one-shots, and I already tackled 1 and 2, and I reminted those, although technically I guess I got fine, or good, I don't remember which is the lowest. But today we're tackling number 3, Rescue Under the Sea. Our heroes have received an urgent call from Freedom Tower. A research submarine is in trouble in the ocean depths, and you're the only one available to help. Better get down there quick. This is misinformation against the Scholar, Ra, Haka, and Fanatic in the ruins of Atlantis. This is a back issue that ended on the 12th of January 2016. It's actually originally released on January 5th. I believe this came out shortly after Mini Pack 2 was released, if I'm remembering correctly. So this was one of my first encounters with misinformation, and I know that misinformation's a problematic villain. In fact, I don't think I've even fought her since this one-shot, and you can see that I near minted it my first time through. So it'll be interesting to see if nearly a year later I'm able to rectify my errors and do this first try. Let's see. What's that? Oh, don't mind me. I'm here to help you, heroes. Now, let's all just sit back and think a spell. No need to get all riled up. Alright. So, like I always do, I look at opening hands. The Scholar starts with 2 copies of Flesh to Iron, Ongoing Elemental. At the start of your turn, either discard 1 card or destroy this card. Reduce damage dealt to the Scholar by 2. As a keep moving, one-shot, search your deck for an elemental card and put it into play. Shuffle your deck, you may play a card. In Solid to Liquid, Ongoing Elemental. At the start of your turn, either discard 1 card or destroy this card. Whenever the Scholar would regain HP, increase the amount of HP regained by 1. Ra, actually I didn't read the base power, sorry, I usually read the base powers as well. Scholar's base power is Better Living, Power. The Scholar regains 1 HP. Ra's base power is Pyre. Power. Ra deals 1 target 2 fire damage. He starts with a Blazing Tornado. Ongoing Limited. Power. Ra deals 1 target 3 fire damage. 2 copies of Scorched Earth. One shot. Ra deals each non-hero target X fire damage, where X equals the number of environment cards in play. And the Staff of Ra. Equipment Relic Limited. When this card enters play, Ra regains 3 HP. Increased damage dealt by Ra by 1. Power. Ra deals 1 target 3 projectile damage. Destroy this card. Haka. His base power is Crush. Power. Haka deals 1 target 2 melee damage. He starts with an Enduring Intercession. Ongoing. Redirect any damage that would be dealt to a hero target by an environment card to Haka. Power. Destroy this card. 2 copies of Punish the Weak. Ongoing Limited. Whenever Haka would damage the non-hero target with the lowest HP, increase that damage by 1. Whenever Haka would damage any other target, reduce that damage by 1. Power. Destroy this card. And Taumoko. Ongoing Limited. Reduce damage dealt to Haka by 1. And lastly, Fanatic. Her base power, Exorcism. Power. Fanatic deals 1 target 1 melee damage and 1 radiant damage. She starts with an Aegis of Resurrection, equipment relic limited. When Fanatic drops to 0 or fewer HP, restore Fanatic to 10 HP, then destroy this card. Brutal Censure, 1 shot. Fanatic deals 1 target 2 radiant damage. You may draw a card. Final Dive, 1 shot. Destroy a target with 4 or fewer HP other than a character card. Fanatic deals 1 target X projectile damage, where X equals the destroyed target's current HP before it was destroyed. And Sacrosanct Martyr, ongoing limited. Power, Fanatic deals herself up to 5 radiant damage. Fanatic deals 1 target X radiant damage, where X equals the amount of radiant damage dealt to Fanatic this turn. So we're fighting misinformation here. And first thing you might notice, she doesn't have hit points. On this side, she's a demure? I don't actually know how that word is pronounced. Demure office worker. Setup. At the start of the game, misinformation enters play, demure office worker side up. Cards are revealed from the top of the villain deck until 1 diversion card is revealed and put into play. Other revealed cards are returned to the villain deck, which is shuffled. Gameplay. At the start of the villain turn, if there are 3 or more clue cards in play, misinformation flips. At the end of the villain turn, X hero ongoing or equipment cards are destroyed, where X equals the number of diversion cards in play. So, just reading this card, you can pick up on a few things. First, that she flips if there are 3 or more clues in play, technically H-1. With 4 heroes, H-1 is 3. So you don't get her to flip until enough clues are out there, which should clue you in that you're really trying to get clues out. Clues are sort of the means of figuring out what exactly is the evil guy here, because this is not a bad person here. This is our secretary. This is the Freedom 5 Tower office worker person, the receptionist, the person who gives you coffee in the morning, who files your papers and copies and faxes, etc. But for some reason, at the end of the villain turn, some number of ongoing equipment cards get destroyed. Like that's some sort of diversion from the game. Okay, I'm done with the puns. So she has clue cards and she has diversion cards. And when there are diversion cards, that's bad for us because, well, the diversions themselves have bad effects, but on her front side, she also has an effect in response to the number of diversions out. So she likes to destroy cards on this side, sabotaging your gameplay. So if you get enough clues to realize that she's the bad guy, she flips. And when she flips, she becomes the revealed saboteur and she has 45 hit points. Gameplay. At the start of the villain turn, a clue card is destroyed. If this occurs, each hero target deals itself 2 sonic damage. The first time a hero target deals damage to misinformation each turn, she deals that target 2 psychic damage. At the end of the villain turn, misinformation deals the 2 hero targets with the lowest HP 2 psychic damage each. So you need clues in play on her front side. We need 3 clues in play, and at the start of the villain turn, misinformation flips. And then right away, she destroys a clue card. So this is forced. She'll destroy a clue card, and once a clue card is destroyed this way, each hero target deals themselves 2 sonic damage. So whenever a hero target deals itself damage, that's actually kind of bad, because it means you don't really want that hero to have damage boosts, because then they'll hurt themselves more. And furthermore, whenever you try to hit her, she retaliates. Well, the first time each turn. First time for each hero target each turn, misinformation retaliates. So it's really hard to want to hit her because she'll hit back, and perhaps stronger than you hit her for. And furthermore, at the end of her turn, she hits the lowest HP heroes for damage, which makes them lowester. I've mentioned a few times that damage to the lowest HP targets are always bad because that makes them lowester, whereas hitting the highest HP targets sometimes changes who's the highest, whereas hitting the lowest HP target just, sucks. Alright, well, there you have it. That's misinformation. And a lot of the cards in her deck suck, as we'll soon see. So she starts with a diversion. This is a diplomatic envoy. Diversion. At the end of the villain turn, this card deals the 2 hero targets with the highest HP 2 melee and 2 energy damage each. This is a target with 14 hit points. So I glossed over it a bit, but she's not a target on her front side. So it is possible for there to be no villain targets in play if the diversions she play aren't targets. This is a target, so we can destroy it if we do it enough damage. But sometimes, if you if you go on autopilot and you select a hero who is a damage dealing power and you use that power and there are only hero targets in play, you're going to be hitting a hero target unless you rewind, which we're going to try not to. We're trying to replicate a mint situation here. So anyway, we start with a diplomatic envoy, and she's now on her first turn, her first play. Missing resources, one shot. Reveal the top card of one hero deck. Each player discards every card which shares any of the revealed card's keywords. Discard the revealed card. Okay. So, not only can she affect the cards that are in play, she can also affect the cards that are in hand. So it's really hard to really get anywhere. Anyway, looking at our current situation, we're going to be discarding cards which share keywords. So we have to think carefully about what we want to select. Do we have any equipment cards? Well, I guess first we should look communally rather. I was thinking of equipments for a reason. But do we have any one-shots? Scholar has a one-shot. Raw has 2 one-shots. Haka has no one-shots. And Fanatic has 2 one-shots. The next thing to look at are ongoing cards. Scholar has 3 ongoing cards. Raw has 1. Haka has 4. And Fanatic has 1. And then last, equipments. I wanted to start with equipments, but Scholar has 0. Raw has 1. Haka is 0. And Fanatic has 1. So the reason I wanted to start with equipments is because of these 4 heroes, all of them have one-shots, all of them have ongoing cards. Scholar is the only one that lacks equipment cards, so if we revealed an equipment card at the top of a hero deck, Scholar would be the least damaged by it. That being said, there are a lot of ongoing cards. We probably don't want to lose all those ongoing cards, especially if we're waiting for misinformation to flip, especially because she did not play a clue card. This is not a clue card, so we have 0 clue cards in play. We need 3, so we're going to have to go at least 3 more rounds until we can get a clue out. So we probably want to hold on to like ongoings because they can help us survive, even though she'll destroy ongoings based on the number of diversions in play. So what we'd really like to have happen is not to reveal an ongoing card. Equipment is also very scattered, so it might even be better for us to reveal an equipment card just because there are fewer equipments. And then there are other keywords that are unique to our decks, like Scholar has an elemental keyword. That would be nice if elemental was by itself, but it's paired with ongoing, so elemental is basically the same as ongoing in this situation. Limited is a keyword and it's shared between Blazing Tornado and Staff of Ra here, so that is a little bit of a problem. Limited is also shared by Punish the Weak and Talmoko, and then is shared by Aegis of Resurrection and Sacrosanct Martyr here. So while the equipment might be a better thing to have revealed, if we reveal a limited equipment, that's bad. So do we have heroes with non-limited equipment cards in their deck? Unfortunately, Ra has only the Staff of Ra, which is a limited card, so that's not so good. Haka has Mare and Tayaha. Both of them are limited, so that's not bad. Or is bad. Fanatic has Absolution, Aegis of Resurrection, and I thought she had one more, but she doesn't, and they're both limited. So I guess equipment is basically the same as limited in this game, and we probably don't want that. So as I originally thought equipment would be good, but now it's actually bad. So we want to keep the ongoings, I guess. So the best thing we can do is really just look for a hero deck with the fewest ongoings, just so we're least likely to reveal an ongoing card, just for the sake of discarding the least. And Ra has 2, 5, 8... 11, 14, 16, 18 ongoing cards. That's half his deck. Scholar has 2, 4, 6, 7, 10, 12, 14. That's less than half his deck. And this is, of course, something that you can only really do in the online game, or not the online, the digital game, because you can actually look through the decks and see what cards are in there without having to reshuffle the deck. We have Dominion, that's 3, 5, 7, 8, 10, 12 for Haka. I believe that was less than Scholar. Fanatic has 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 11, 13. So I think Haka had 12, which was less. Let me double check Scholar. I forgot what Scholar was. 2, 4, 6, 7, 10, 12, 14. So if we're trying to not reveal ongoing, Haka is the most likely to not reveal an ongoing. So I'm going to select Haka. Haka reveals a one-shot, so we are discarding 5 one-shot cards. One-shot was the... well, I guess equipment was the least, but one-shot's the leaster since there was no way to really reveal a non-limited equipment. And so we're losing our Brutal Censure, Final Dive, Keep Moving, and 2 Scorched Earths. Don't think the order matters in this game. So 1 ongoing or equipment card would have been destroyed, but we had none in play, and now who's considered to have the second highest? The first is going after Haka, the second is for either Ra or Fanatic, and Fanatic prefers to take damage, so we'll just select her, and then we'll spread that damage around. Alright. So, here we are. Diplomatic Envoy is out. It has 14 hit points. If we don't destroy it, Misinformation is going to destroy, and since the destruction is at the end of her turn, she's going to destroy at least 1 hero ongoing or equipment card. She can destroy a second one or more if more diversion cards are played, and guess what? She has a card in her deck that chains diversions. I think. Maybe. Diversionary Tactics. Reveal the top 4 cards of the villain deck and put any revealed diversions into play, and then play the top card of the villain deck. I'll read that more in depth if that pops up. But she can potentially destroy our entire board if she gets too many diversions out. So the question is, are we going to be able to take out that Diplomatic Envoy? Scholar can't deal damage right now. He also hasn't taken any damage, so he's actually a good candidate for skipping twice and drawing 2 cards. Except, you know, we're not safe from discarding cards if we draw more cards. Our hands aren't safe in this game. Which is like what a Saboteur would do, is not make your hand safe. But Ra at best could do 4 if he plays the Staff of Ra and throws it at the diversionary or Diplomatic Envoy. Haka can only do 2. I guess he could do 3 if he puts Punish the Weak out. And Punish the Weak is probably fine to play in this game. There's only 1 non-hero target currently. There's not going to be too many unless the environment gets in the way. Or other diversions get out that do things. So we can do like 3 or 4 with Ra, 3 with Haka, and if we use Sacrosanct Martyr, we can do 5 to it. So that's 5, plus 3 is 8, plus 4 is 12. So we cannot destroy the Diplomatic Envoy this turn, or this round. So since we can't do that, that means we don't really have to worry too much about things. I mean, I guess the environment could play something that would hit the Diplomatic Envoy, but the environment could also play things that stop us from playing cards. So we probably don't really want to do that. I should mention that one tactic that I've heard about, I haven't really heard too much about strategies for Misinformation because I believe she's one of the least liked villains in the game next to like Spite. But I've seen people say things like, just don't play cards. Like, just don't play cards or use powers until she flips, and just draw extra cards so that when she does flip, you have cards that you can use, since her card destruction at the end of the villain turn really hurts your ability to play things. And the diversions could also destroy things themselves. But the Diplomatic Envoy is also targeting us at the moment, so we probably want to deal with that. Anyway, so, So I probably don't want to play the Staff of Ra, since if I play the Staff of Ra, I get a damage booster, but I also lose the ability to play it for HP recovery. So Blazing Tornado is probably the better play for Ra. And Punish the Weak, I think, is better for Haka. I could play Talmoko and have damage reduction, which I guess since Diplomatic Envoy is targeting Haka, that might not be too bad. If Scholar plays a card, it's actually unlikely that he'll be able to keep it in play, since all of these cards are elementals, and so in order to keep them in play at the start of his turn, he has to discard a card. And if he plays a card and discards a card and draws 1 card at the end of his turn, he's losing 1 card per round. And also Scholar's at maximum hit points right now, so he doesn't really need to play the Flesh to Iron. He also doesn't need the Solid to Liquid at all, so I think Scholar's just going to skip twice. And Scholar draws a Transmutive Recovery, one shot. The Scholar regains 2 HP, draw 2 cards. And Mortal Form to Energy, ongoing elemental. At the start of your turn, either discard 1 card or destroy this card. Whenever the Scholar regains HP, the Scholar also deals 1 target that much energy damage. This is the reason that you don't really want Scholar to reduce damage too much, especially if he's at maximum hit points, because this card only reacts to HP recovery if it happens. If you're at maximum HP, you can't recover HP, and therefore things like Transmutive Recovery don't come with a damage dealing effect. But we have the Transmutive Recovery, so that's good. So Ra, I think, is playing the Blazing Tornado. The difference between Pyre and Blazing Tornado is that Pyre does 2 fire damage, Blazing Tornado does 3 fire damage. And as a second power, so if Ra has a means of doing more than 1 power in a turn, he can use both. Whereas if he has only Pyre, he can only use that power, even if he has multiple power uses, because you can't use more than 1 power per turn. So Blazing Tornado we can use to hit the Diplomatic Envoy. And Ra draws another Blazing Tornado. And I think we decided Talmoko was better, since that extra hit point on Diplomatic Envoy wasn't going to help us. We can go ahead and hit the Diplomatic Envoy. And we draw Mare, equipment limited, power. Haka deals 1 target 2 melee damage. Draw a card. So it's like Crush, except you get to draw a card. And it's the second power instance, so if Haka had a means of using more than 1 power per turn, he could use both. Alright, so if I'm going to be playing a card, it's a little too early to put the Aegis out, especially since it can easily be destroyed in this game. If I put out the Sacrosanct Martyr, it at least serves as ongoing fodder. And if I feel like the environment's going to play a Kraken, so the Kraken is a card that targets the non-environment target with the lowest HP and hits them for 5 melee damage. That's a lot of damage, and it's capable of one-shotting the Diplomatic Envoy if it's down to 5. And the only means of doing that is if I use the Sacrosanct Martyr to hit myself for 4 radiant damage and hit the Envoy with it. There's 3 copies of Kraken, so there's 1 in 5 chance that a Kraken will come out. We could also get a Mystical Defenses, which won't help with the Kraken, or the Envoy. The Hallway Collapse would do more damage than the Mystical Defenses, but wouldn't take out the Kraken. Leaking Room would suck. Toxic Seaweed would suck. There's a lot of bad things that can happen. But I think I at least want to play the Sacrosanct Martyr because we only have 2 ongoing cards. I want to make sure that we have options in case we have to destroy things. And since I don't have the card that reacts to being at low HP, I'm just going to play it a little safer and use Exorcism. So it's going to be down to 7, so it definitely won't be destroyed on the environment turn. Fanatic draws Sanctifying Strike, 1 shot. Fanatic deals 1 target 1 melee damage. You may draw a card. Fanatic regains 1 HP. The environment plays... Oh, a Kraken! Appendage. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals the non-environment target with the lowest HP 5 melee damage. So that's definitely going after the Envoy. So if I had the foresight to know that Kraken was coming out, I could have played that a little better and taken the Envoy down to 4. Or 5. I could have done 4 damage to it to put it down to 4. To be honest, I knew that Kraken was coming out. But I tried to logic it as if I didn't. Hopefully it was convincing. Diversionary Tactics. 1 shot. Reveal the top 4 cards of the villain deck. Put any revealed diversion cards into play. Discard the other revealed cards. Shuffle the villain trash into the villain deck. Play the top card of the villain deck. So it's actually misleading to say discard the other revealed cards. But what's actually happening is that the villain trash is getting shuffled into the villain deck. So even though there are 4 copies of Diversionary Tactics, you're likely to keep seeing this the entire game unless she happens to chain all 4 of them, in which case they all enter the trash and they're all gone. But we're getting diversions. So let's see what we reveal. One of the things I wish that you could see better would be to have like the text showing the 4 revealed cards stay on screen for longer. I haven't really figured out a way of doing that without affecting other things, so I just haven't bothered. But we know that one diversion is here, Threat to the President. Diversion. At the end of the villain turn, the player with the most cards in play must destroy one of their non-character cards. At the start of the villain turn, the players may destroy 4 non-character hero cards. If they do, destroy this card. This card sucks. I mean, it's a diversion. Diversions always suck. This diversion always destroys a card at the end of the villain turn, in addition to misinformation destroying a card because of this, because it's a diversion. So a lot of cards will end up getting destroyed. The way to destroy this card is at the start of the villain turn if we destroy 4 of our cards. Which is sort of like, do we really want to destroy so many cards if this card's only destroying 1 card per turn and misinformation is destroying 1 on the front side? Like, the counter to that would be, well, you know, I could just not play cards until she flips, and then this card will only destroy 1 card per turn, but I like to get rid of this card as fast as I can. And another thing to point out, this is not an ongoing card. This is a diversion card, and hero cards never reference diversion cards. There's never a card that says, you may destroy a diversion card. No. There aren't many ways of dealing with this card outside of its stated destruction effect. Fanatic does have a card that could destroy it, actually. Her End of Days card doesn't discriminate against these things, but she doesn't have it yet. Anyway, Threat to the President is out. We also have an Explosion in the Lab, Diversion. At the end of the villain turn, each player with 3 or more cards in play must destroy 1 of their cards. At the start of the villain turn, 1 player may discard their hand to destroy this card. This is another one that sucks when coupled with Threat to the President. I mean, it sucks when it's comboed with other diversions, because now we have 3 diversions, and so we have 3 hero cards that are going to get destroyed indiscriminately. So much for the plan of using them. But the means of destroying this is for a player to discard their hand, so you lose your hand. Slightly worse than destroying 4 cards, maybe. And this, however, this only reacts. The end of the villain turn, each player with 3 or more cards in play, destroying 1 of the cards, only acts if you have 3 or more cards in play. That sounds better than it actually is, because your character card is a card in play. So it's really if you have 2 other cards in play. Or if you have more than 1 other card in play. If you have 2 cards in play, which would be your character card and some other card, you're fine. If you have more than 1, you're destroying 1 of them. And again, this is not an ongoing card, so the only way to destroy it is to either discard your hand or End of Days it in this game. Those were all the diversions revealed, and we have shuffled the deck, and we're playing the top card of the deck, and the card revealed is Concealed Betrayal. Ongoing clue. At the end of the villain turn, destroy 1 hero ongoing or equipment card. At the start of the villain turn, each player may discard any number of their cards. If 4 cards are discarded this way, destroy this card. We've seen 3 of these cards on the second turn. So even if we had 4 ongoing cards in play, although I guess they would have been destroyed. If we had so many cards in play, they would basically be gone when coupled with the previous 3 cards. Unfortunately, this card is a clue. It's our first clue. We need 3 to get her to flip. So we have 1, and it has to stay in play for her to flip. So we can't interact with this if we want her to flip fast. So we are going to have to deal with the automatic destruction outside of the diversion destruction. So we're not really going to have cards in play in this game. What else? There is a way of destroying this card. It's an ongoing card, at least, so we can destroy it by ongoing destruction, which Fanatic, I think, is the only hero here with ongoing destruction, sadly. So there is a means of destroying it, but again, we don't want to destroy it before misinformation flips, otherwise we're hurting ourselves. There is a means of destroying it on here. Misinformation on our flip side does destroy a clue card at the start of our turn, but we can also destroy this card by discarding cards, which is probably the way we want to do it so we don't end up hurting ourselves. Alright, enough rambling. She's destroying 3 cards because there are 3 diversions in play, so these 3 cards are all gone. Sacrosanct Martyr was a martyr. And there's no choice here. Haka would have taken 2 fewer points of damage, but oh well. So, remember, the Kraken is still in play. The Kraken is targeting the non-environment target with the lowest HP, which is currently Diplomatic Envoy. So it's sort of good that we didn't destroy it, because otherwise we would have to kill the Kraken now, otherwise it would just keep hitting either Haka, Ra, or Fanatic. But currently it is hitting the Diplomatic Envoy, so I actually don't have to do anything. If I'm doing any damage, I should probably damage the Kraken in case I do need to destroy it in the next round. And remember that these diversions in play, the Envoy will be destroyed, but we'll still have 2 diversions in play, and they each have different ways of destroying themselves, which we should probably do. Threat to the President we should probably destroy as soon as we can, just because this destruction is always happening, especially when coupled to a front side. Explosion in the lab we'll have to deal with at some point, but if a hero has an empty hand to begin with, then there's nothing to lose. So threat to the President, we have to be able to destroy 4 non-character hero cards, and since each of our heroes can only play 1 card, we're going to have to play ongoing or equipment cards for the sake of destruction. So what do we wish to have destroyed? Well, Scholar has 2 copies of Flesh to Iron, and I usually only use 1 of them at most. He doesn't need to reduce damage that much, but he's also at maximum HP, so he doesn't need them right now, and we would rather keep the Mortal Form to Energy when he can actually regain HP. He currently can't. And Solid to Liquid I haven't really used that much, to be honest, but we also don't need to regain HP right now, so in particular we don't need to regain a lot of HP at once. So if I'm going to sacrifice one of these cards, I mean, Flesh to Iron is the one to go since I have a duplicate. Solid to Liquid is also a way to go since, as I said, I don't usually use that. But I'm going to put a Flesh to Iron out in case the environment... Well, I guess the environment would... I would want Scholar to take damage if the environment were to hit Scholar, but whatever. And I draw my 3rd and last Flesh to Iron. So whatever, I have it back in my hand. So, I have another copy of Staff of Ra in my hand. If I play this, it would be destroyed, but I don't want to destroy it myself. I need to keep it in play. If I play it, Ra regains 3 HP. I guess that's good. Blazing Tornado would end up with the same effect as playing Staff of Ra and using Pyre. So I'm just going to play the Staff of Ra then, since he has several copies of that in his deck and it allows me to regain HP. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the Kraken, just to keep him in check. And I draw a Wrathful Gaze, ongoing, power, destroy 1 target with 2 or fewer HP. This is one of the weaker powers in the game, to be honest. Being able to destroy a target with 2 or fewer HP is only better than Pyre, which deals 2 fire damage, if that target is at 2 HP and has at least 1 point of damage reduction, or has 1 HP and has at least 2 points of damage reduction. And that changes if you have like Staff of Ra in play, in which case they need even more damage reduction. Or if that target just happens to be immune to damage, then you could still destroy them as long as they're at 2 or fewer HP, but the situations at which Wrathful Gaze is useful is quite limited, and I don't think I've really used it unironically. I've used it when I can use it if it's already in play. I don't bother skipping things to do that, but anyway. Well, since I'm going to be losing a card, I should probably put the Punish the Weak out just so it can be lost. I could use Mare, and then Mare would let me draw a card. So at least I'd benefit from that a little bit. But I do have 2 copies of Punish the Weak, so I wouldn't mind losing it, even though it's going to hit the Kraken for 1 fewer point of damage. I'm going to put Punish the Weak out. And then I'm going to hit the Kraken. And I draw a Rampage. 1 shot. Haka deals each non-hero target 5 melee damage, and each hero target 2 melee damage. It's good for clearing the board. Unfortunately, we don't have a main villain target to hit, so it doesn't matter. Fanatic has to lose her Aegis, because we have to put an ongoing or equipment out there for threat to the President to be destroyed. So we're going to play the Aegis, and then I'm going to hit the Kraken some more. And we draw an Undaunted, ongoing limited. Whenever exactly 1 damage would be dealt to Fanatic, prevent that damage. Whenever Fanatic would be dealt 5 or more damage from a single source, reduce that damage by 2. Environment plays Leaking Room. Players cannot play hero cards. Increase all lightning damage by 2. At the start of the environment turn, destroy this card. So we can't play cards. Rip. Good news, Diplomatic Envoy's gone. Bad news, we can't play cards. So not only would our cards get destroyed, but we also can't play cards. But we can now destroy Threat to the President since, well, and we really should do this because Misinformation is going to destroy 2 cards at least because of 2 diversions. Then Threat to the President is going to destroy 1, whoever has the most cards in play. Explosion in the Lab isn't going to act, but then Concealed Betrayal is also going to destroy a card. So all of our cards are gone regardless of whether we destroy them now or later, so let's go ahead and destroy them now. So those are our 4 cards that we played in the previous round. Those are all gone. So at least Threat to the President's gone. We can also lose the Explosion in the Lab if we let someone discard their hand. And since we can't play cards, it's actually not that bad to have a hand discarded. So we might as well take advantage of this opportunity while we have it. And Ra is certainly a good candidate for it because Wrathful Gaze is a boring card and Blazing Tornado is only slightly better than Pyre. Scholar loves all of these cards, which is why I skipped over him to begin with, so we're going to skip him. Punish the Weak is actually going to be really good on Misinformation's flip side, because if Punish the Weak is in play and Haka deals himself 2 sonic damage, that will be reduced by 1 because Haka is not a non-hero target with the lowest HP. So, because Punish the Weak says Haka's damage would be reduced by 1 if he targets someone other than the non-hero target with the lowest HP. Rampage is really good for clearing the board, as I said. Mare lets him draw more cards, and during Intercession, a little boring in this game. Fanatic also is a good candidate for discard since she can't play cards either. Undaunted at least prevents damage from being dealt if it's exactly 1. Sanctifying Strike is a means of drawing more cards, but by itself it's not too exciting. But either Ra or Fanatic are good candidates. I think I'm gonna let Ra discard. Yeah. Ra discards. Explosion in the Lab is gone. We also can destroy Concealed Betrayal, but this is a clue, so we have to keep it in play for Misinformation to flip. And Misinformation plays Old Lady in the Street, Diversion. At the end of the villain turn, this card deals the 2 hero targets with the lowest HP 2 cold damage each. So unlike the Diplomatic Envoy, this card targets the lowest HP heroes. The good news is the Kraken will target the Old Lady. Is that good news? Well, it's Old Lady in quotes, so it's not a real Old Lady. I generally don't advocate hitting old ladies. So the bad news is we won't be able to have the Kraken destroy the Old Lady in the street, so she is going to act again, but the good news is if we don't get a second diversion, then it's fine. Scholar's at maximum hit points still, so he really is just going to skip twice. He already skipped his play, it was forced, he's skipping his power. He draws another Immortal Form to Energy and another Solid to Liquid. All of the ongoings are on the top of his deck. Wow. Ra doesn't have a hand, and since Old Lady in the Street isn't going to get destroyed by the Kraken, Ra could just skip this, I think. I think getting another card to recoup the discard loss is a little bit better, so we're going to skip this. We draw Scorched Earth, which we had at the start of the game and then got discarded, and a Flame Spike, 1-shot. Ra deals 1 target, 1 fire damage. You may use an additional power this turn. There's a source of extra power uses. We don't have any extra powers, though. Can't play a card, but I'm going to go ahead and hit the Old Lady. And we draw Dominion, ongoing. Whenever an environment card is destroyed, you may draw a card. Fanatic. Really, I don't have to hit the Old Lady, because since the Kraken won't be able to take her out. I guess if the environment plays a Hallway Collapse, the Hallway Collapse plus the Kraken would take out the Old Lady. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the Old Lady, just to make sure that can happen. And Fanatic draws a Divine Sacrifice. One shot. Fanatic deals up to 3 targets, 1 irreducible radiant damage each. Damage dealt by those targets is redirected to Fanatic until the start of your next turn. Alrighty. Leaking Room's destroyed so we can play cards, and another one comes out. Still cannot play cards, and lightning damage is increased by 2. But the Kraken hits the old lady. So we're 3 rounds in. No, this is the 3rd round. This is the 3rd round. Wait. No, I'm not mathing right. No, this is the 4th round. 3rd round happened so fast I didn't think it happened. This is the start of the 4th round. 3 rounds have happened. We have 1 clue card in play. We need to keep the Concealed Betrayal in play. And we get an Insider Knowledge. Ongoing clue. Reduce damage dealt to misinformation by 1. At the start of the villain turn, move a diversion card from the villain trash into play. The good news is we can actually select the diversion. It just says move a diversion card from the trash. It doesn't say shuffle the villain trash and reveal cards from the top until a diversion is revealed and put into play. This is move a diversion, so we will have a choice here. It's actually an interesting graphic there because it's like a Windows desktop, and you see Heroes Absolute Zero, Expatriate, Legacy, Mr. Fixer, Haka, Bunker. And we're clicking on the Bunker folder because we're trying to see what insider knowledge we have on Bunker for the sake of sabotage. But it'd actually be interesting if there was a hero listed there that hasn't been released yet, but there isn't. Anyway, there's damage reduction to misinformation, which isn't bad right now because she's not a target, but we will be getting a diversion each turn, which is actually fine because we can, you know, get targets back in play that the Kraken can hit. So because of that, I'm probably not even going to bother hitting the Kraken. This is making the lowest HP heroes lowester. Alright. So I still can't play cards, and I'm still at maximum HP. Scholar has not taken any damage yet in this game. There's something wrong with that. It's not like I didn't try to get that to happen. They just never... Scholar was never an option for hitting when I had a choice. Alright, well, I don't have HP to recover, so there's no point in recovering HP that I can't recover. So I draw a Don't Dismiss Anything. One shot. Each player may either move 1 card from their trash to the top of their deck, or put the top card of their deck into play. And another Don't Dismiss Anything, so we have 2 of those now. Don't have a card to play, and as I said, the Kraken is going to go after the diversions if we play this right, so I'm going to skip again. I draw a Drawn to the Flame. Ongoing. Power. Ra deals each non-hero target X fire damage, where X equals the number of villain ongoing cards in play. This is actually fine against misinformation. This card obviously is better when there are more villain ongoing cards in play, and sometimes you play against villains that have no ongoing cards in play, in which case this is sort of a dead card, quote unquote, not really. But there are 2 ongoings in play that are going to remain in play until we get misinformation flipped. So we can at least use this to hit 2 fire damage across the board in case we need to do that. Second card we draw is a Summon Staff. One shot. Search your deck for the Staff of Ra and put it into your hand. Shuffle your deck. You may draw a card, you may play a card. This is an example of a cyclic card, where you play this, you do certain numbers of actions, and then after them you get to play another card, so you can chain this card with other cards. And the effect of this card is to get a Staff of Ra into your hand, provided that there's at least 1 in your deck, as well as draw an additional card. So that gives you at least 2, well, not at least, it gives you at most 2 more options. It gives you a Staff of Ra and some mystery card that you can then play, or you can play the Staff of Ra, or you can play something else. Haka. As I said, we don't really need to hit the Kraken, so I'm not going to bother. And I draw Haka of Shielding. One shot. Draw 2 cards, then discard 1 or more cards. Reduce the next damage dealt to Haka by 2 for each card discarded this way. And another Punish the Weak. So that's our 3rd Punish the Weak that we have had. Can't play. I'm going to skip. And I draw Brutal Censure. I believe I've already read that. And Chastise, ongoing. Play next to a non-hero target other than a character card. That target is immune to damage and cannot deal damage. At the start of your turn, Fanatic may deal herself 2 psychic damage. If she takes no damage this way, this card is destroyed. So this is a means of chastising a target away, making them unable to hurt us at the cost of us not being able to hurt them. This is not a good card to play on Old Lady in the Street because it will still trigger misinformation's destroy a card because there's a diversion in play. We could play it on the Kraken, but that's a little boring since we want to utilize the Kraken's power. Alright, Leaking Room is now destroyed, and I believe there were only 2 copies of that in his deck, her deck. And we get a second Kraken! Good news, it's the second Kraken. Bad news, that second Kraken is going to target someone, so let's hit Fanatic because Fanatic prefers to take damage. We have to keep Concealed Betrayal in play. Insider Knowledge is putting a diversion back into play. So I think since Scholar has not taken damage yet, we should put the Diplomatic Envoy in play, since this will hit Scholar for 4 damage. It will also hit Ra for 4 damage, but he can get a Staff of Ra out. And since we have 2 Krakens, we want them to target non-hero targets, and the Diplomatic Envoy is a good candidate for it. And since we know there are 2 Krakens doing damage, we can have them hit the Diplomatic Envoy for 10 damage, which is good, I think. So let's go ahead and put the Diplomatic Envoy in play. Missing resources. Remember we started with this card? We got a second one. So those cards that we drew, we're going to be losing some number of them. So again, what is a good candidate for this? Well, first let's see what cards we have. Scholar obviously has a huge number of ongoing cards, so if he loses those, it's actually really bad because he can't get them from his trash unless he uses Don't Dismiss Anything for that purpose, which is, I guess, something forced. We do have at least 1 copy of Mortal Form to Energy left in his deck and 1 copy of Solid to Liquid, so it wouldn't be terrible if he lost those cards, but it would certainly be a little more difficult. And he has 3 one-shots. Ra has 3 one-shots and an ongoing. Ra has a variety of cards, 2 one-shots, 4 ongoings, 2 are limited, and an equipment that's limited. Fanatic has 2 one-shots, 3 one-shots, and 2 ongoings, 1 is limited. So equipment's the better keyword again, but it's going to be really hard to reveal an equipment since they're all limited, and so the limited cards will be destroyed or discarded, but this time we don't have too many ongoing limiteds. We have Undaunted, we have Punish the Weak, and that's it. So if we can reveal an equipment, that would probably be a little more ideal. However, there are so few equipments in the deck that it's really a lost cause to try to do that. We have 3 Staff of Ra's, so 3 in 30 chance. We have 2 Mares and 3 Taihas, a 5 in 30 chance. And we have 3 Absolutions and an Aegis, a 4 in 31 chance. So equipment isn't really the way to go. This is sort of a crapshoot, to be honest. It doesn't really matter what I end up doing, because I could try to optimize the card, but in the end, it's a percentage chance whether we'll reveal the right keyword, and then, yeah. But I don't really know the best approach to this. All I know is that there are about an equal number of one-shots. Let me double check this before I say that. 3, 6, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19 one-shots, 10 ongoing. So Scholar's pretty rich in one-shots, which I think if we lost one shot, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So if we're going the one-shot route, that's 2, 5, 7... 10, 13, 3, 6, 8, 10, 12, 15, and 1, 3, 4, 6, 9, 11. I lost where I was. I think it was on Power Rest of Desperation, 12 on Sanctifying Strike, 15, 16 on Fanatic. So I think Scholar was best at 19 out of 29 if we want to reveal a one-shot. So we're going to take a chance and reveal Scholar and reveal a one-shot. So we've successfully have selected one-shot. We're discarding one-shots. Not sure that one-shot was the best choice, but it was the one that was easiest to choose, or to get selected, I guess. No cards to destroy, and this order doesn't matter. Now, Scholar has successfully taken damage. So, since the Insider Knowledge is going to consistently pull a diversion from the trash, Misinformation will be destroying at least one hero ongoing or equipment card per turn. So if I want to play something and keep it, I'm going to need to play at least one ongoing card. She still has a number of diversions still in her deck. She has one diversion left in her deck. Whoa. How did that happen? I guess she doesn't have as many diversions as I thought. She has 3 in her trash, 1 in play, 1 in the deck. Interesting. I thought she had way more diversions than that. Considering that Diversionary Tactics says reveal the top 4 cards and put any revealed diversions into play. It just seems like it's... Although I guess it can shuffle the trash into the deck, so that's a little bad. Okay. So a few things that we need to have happen. The first is we need to get the Krakens to destroy the Envoy. So we have to do 4 points of damage to it. That's pretty easy. The second thing is we need to get at least 1 or at least 2 ongoing or equipment cards in play for the sake of destruction via Information's front side. So, and the reason I was looking at the number of diversions in the deck was because if she puts more into play, she'll destroy more cards. But she'll only be able to get 1 more diversion in play, unless she shuffles the deck. So we can play ongoings, and since we don't have one-shots at all, it's likely that we'll just be playing ongoings. So, yeah. So Scholar doesn't really have to. And he doesn't have to. If he does, then he's going to be losing cards if he keeps playing cards, so... But we've already seen another missing resources. How many does she have in her deck? She has another one. She shuffled that first one back into her deck. There are only 2 copies of it. We've seen 2 of them, but 1 was shuffled back into her deck, so she can still use another one. So, I could just put a Mortal Form to energy out there in case I draw a one-shot that reacts to HP recovery. But I also don't have to play anything. I just have to do 4 points of damage to the Envoy, and each of the other 3 heroes can deal 3 damage on their turns, unless Ra plays... Oh no, he doesn't have the staff anymore. But I think it's safe to say that all of us have cards that we're willing to put out there for the sake of destruction. I don't know, really. I could play something, I could not play something. I guess I should play something just for the sake of numbers of cards, so... Flesh to Iron or Mortal Form to Energy. I always like Mortal Form, so I'm going to go ahead and put that out there. And I don't have to regain the HP. The one thing I don't want to have happen is to deal too much damage to the Envoy. Not just like that the first Kraken takes it out, but that a Hallway Collapse gets played and deals it 3 damage and destroys it before the second Kraken can act. So if I'm planning on hitting the Kraken, I should make sure I do exactly 4 points of damage to it. So I don't need to regain this HP, so I'm just going to skip it. And I draw Bring What You Need, Ongoing Limited, Power, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, put 2 in your hand and 1 on the bottom of your deck. Alright, so Ra, He can use his power to hit the Envoy for 2, and we'll put the Drawn to the Flame just to have it out there. I could use it because it would then hit each non-hero target for 2 fire damage. And I guess I could, because again, we can keep the Krakens in check if I do that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just so I can do 2 damage across the board. And I draw an Inferno, 1 shot. Raw deals 1 target 3 fire damage. Raw deals up to 5 other targets 1 fire damage each. Alright. Card play for the sake of playing a card. I'm going to put Mare out. And then I can use Mare. And I draw a Talmoko. I guess I could have had Scholar regain the hit point and hit the Kraken. Just to make sure that it's in check. But that's fine. The card draw was from Mare, so the card draw for my draw phase is Vitality Surge. 1 shot. Haka regains 2 HP. Draw a card. So, if I chastise a Kraken, that actually will stop them from hitting the Envoy, so I have to play Undaunted. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the Kraken, I guess. I'll hit the lower HP one. And I draw Zealous Offense, ongoing limited. At the start of your turn, select up to 2 non-character card targets. Those targets cannot deal damage until the start of your next turn. At the end of your turn, if you have not dealt at least 3 damage this turn, destroy this card. Zealous Offense would be a great way of, like, since Fanatic's the last hero, it's a great way of knowing whether the Krakens are going to be hitting heroes or not, and if Zealous Offense is in play, we could say, alright Krakens, don't do damage this turn. Unfortunately, we can't keep it in play just yet because we have to be able to deal 3 damage in a turn, and we don't have the means of doing that just yet. Environment plays Toxic Seaweed. Whenever a hero uses a power, deal that hero 3 toxic damage. At the end of the environment turn, 1 player may discard their hand to destroy this card. This card sucks. It reacts to heroes using powers, so it's exclusively bad to heroes. And it deals us 3 toxic damage every time we use a power, so we're probably going to want to destroy this card. But first, the Krakens go off, and they take out the Diplomatic Envoy for us. And now we could choose to discard our hand. And Ra has only 1 card, and that card is Inferno. Which, since we're still on Misinformation's front side, this card isn't going to be useful for hitting Misinformation, so I'm going to opt for Ra to discard his hand for the sake of destroying a Toxic Seaweed. We have to keep the Concealed Betrayal in play. We're taking a Diversion and putting it back into play. And the Diplomatic Envoy, I think, is still better because the Old Lady in the Street's only going to make the lowest hero targets lowester. And we play a Diversionary Tactics. So that's actually bad. It's not a clue, but it's also good because we'll play the top card of the villain deck. And if the top 4 cards is a diversion, which there's only 1 diversion left, and we didn't reveal it, so shuffle the trash and play the top card is the Diversionary Tactics number 2. Did we reveal whatchamacallit? We did not. We did not reveal any diversions. Which actually was more likely the second time because we had shuffled the 4 diversions back into the 3 diversions in the trash into the deck to have 4 diversions in the deck. And the top card of the deck is a Missing Resources. 3rd time we're seeing this card. At this point, I don't know that it really matters. Because again, it's like, well, Scholar has the most one-shots in his deck, and we just discarded most of our one-shots, so I think it's Scholar again. That's a faster choice. And reveal a one-shot, so we're discarding the single one-shot that we had. So that's gone. We didn't get the 3rd clue, sadly, so we're going to have to wait even longer. The unfortunate thing about Misinformation games is that it's a waiting game at the start, and it's actually very possible, albeit it's very unlikely, it's a limit approaching 0, basically, of Misinformation never playing another clue card. She could just, like, you could be so bad at shuffling her deck that the top card of her deck after each shuffle, or rather, the top card of her deck after she shuffles and plays top card of the deck happens to be a Diversionary Tactics, so she keeps shuffling her trash into her deck. And you never get to see a clue, but we will see one eventually. Maybe. Please. Okay. Which one do we want to lose? Well, Fanatic doesn't really have a card to play right now, so we probably want to keep that Undaunted out, I would say. Ra also doesn't have a card to play, so we should keep the Drawn to the Flame, just, you know, so we can have a means of destroying other cards. Scholar can play a Bring What You Need, but we probably want to keep the Mortal Form to Energy out, so I'm going to go and destroy Mare. Oh, right, and Concealed Betrayal is also going off. So we're actually destroying 2 cards per turn. So actually we're going to be losing cards this turn since we don't have enough ongoings to destroy. Which is sad. I'm going to lose Undaunted. And then this deals damage. Alright, so I have to discard a card to keep Mortal Form to Energy. I'm going to lose a Flesh to Iron, rather. And I'm going to play Bring What You Need because while Mortal Form to Energy is out there, I need to have a card drawing means. So I'm going to play Bring What You Need, use it to reveal the top 3 cards of my deck. They are all one-shots, by the way. We have a Get Out of the Way, one-shot. The Scholar deals each non-hero target 1 fire damage. Then the Scholar regains X HP, where X equals the number of targets dealt damage this way. A Keep Moving, which we had at the start of the game and got discarded. It's not as useful now because, I mean, it is slightly useful because we still have a Mortal Form to Energy in our deck, but we only have 2 elementals, so we're not going to have too many choices on what to reveal and put into play. And a Know When to Turn Loose, one shot, discard your hand. The Scholar deals 1 target X lightning damage, where X equals the number of cards discarded this way. So these 3 cards are pretty good. Get Out of the Way is a nice card because it combos well with Mortal Forms to Energy. It hits all heroes it hits all non-hero targets for 1 fire damage, so it's across the board damage dealing. Then he regains HP, and the HP recovery is equal to the number of targets dealt damage, and then since he regained HP, he could also deal so many targets that much energy damage based on the normal of Mortal Form to Energies in play. Keep Moving is nice if I want to get a second Mortal Form to Energy out, or at least 1, especially if I'm going to combo it with Get Out of the Way. Know When to Turn Loose is a good card to finish a game with, but since it's really hard to keep cards in our hands in this game, we're probably just going to put that on the bottom. So I'll go ahead and put the Get Out of the Way and Keep Moving in our hand. Know When to Turn Loose on the bottom, and we draw another Transmutive Recovery. Ra has no cards. We could do the 2 fire damage across the board again, except I don't want the Kraken to die to a hallway collapse. So I'm going to just hit the Envoy. Again, we have to hit it for 4 points for the Krakens to take it out. And we draw Living Conflagration, ongoing. When this card enters play, Ra deals 1 target 2 fire damage. Power, Ra deals 1 target 1 fire damage, you may draw a card. So we're about an hour in now, and we haven't flipped Misinformation yet, so we're basically at where we were when the game started, except we do have 2 clues that we're trying to deal with. Haka is the highest HP hero, so I'm going to play the Talmoko. And I need to do 2 points to the Envoy, so I'm going to do that. And we draw Haka of Battle, one shot. Draw 2 cards, then discard 1 or more cards. Increase the next damage dealt by Haka by 1 for each card discarded this way. So, neither of these cards are useful. Chastise stops the target from dealing damage or from being dealt damage, neither of which are useful whether we play on the Kraken or the Envoy. And Zealous Offense will destroy itself if I play it because I can't deal 3 damage this turn. So I don't have a card to play and I don't need to deal damage since the Envoy's already at 10, so I'm just going to skip and draw twice. First card I draw is a Sanctifying Strike, and the second is a Consecrated Ground, one shot. Destroy an ongoing card or an environment card. Fanatic deals up to 3 targets 1 radiant damage each. We can use that to destroy clues when we need to. Atlantean Font of Power. At the end of the environment turn, play the top card of the villain deck. Play the top card of each hero deck in turn order. If the played card is a limited card already in play, discard that card and play the next card. At the start of the environment turn, destroy this card. So this is actually pretty good, because we especially want her to play clues, and so the Atlantean Font of Power can get a clue out. It could also put a diversion out, which would be really bad. But it's also going to give us extra card plays on our turns, rather the top card of each hero deck. And so we could potentially get more ongoings or equipment cards at least, which will be able to feed the card destruction that we weren't able to do so well this turn, or this round. So what's the top card of the villain deck? Well, first destroy the Envoy. All right, Envoy's gone. Top card of the villain deck is a one-shot. Another Reality's Debt, one-shot. Each player must either discard their hand or destroy all their cards. Well. All right. This is pretty bad. Especially since we wanted to have cards for insider knowledge to destroy. And misinformation, because insider knowledge plays a... Sorry. Concealed Betrayal is the one that's destroying the card. Insider knowledge is pulling a diversion out, which misinformation is then going to react and destroy things with. So we really don't want to destroy things, but we also don't want to discard our hands. I think Fanatic, if I select Fanatic, what is it going to say? I do have a choice here, so I can destroy all my cards since Fanatic has no cards in play. So I'm going to opt to destroy all my cards, no cards destroyed. That was the easy choice. Do I want Dominion, Enduring Intercession, Haka of Battle, or Punish the Weaks? I think not. Those aren't really exciting. Those are ongoing cards, though. Ra does have an ongoing card source, but we could lose Drawn to the Flame, so Ra will choose to destroy. Actually, no, if I destroy it... see, this is the thing. If I destroy it, I have to destroy other cards. There are chances that I'll be playing ongoing cards by playing the top cards in my decks, but I don't want to rely on that, and I'm going to lose 2 of these cards already. So... I think... oh, jeez. This is terrible. I think I'm going to discard Ra's hand. I'm going to discard Haka's hand, but I'm going to destroy all of Scholar's cards because his hand is a little too valuable. Top card of Scholar's deck, Know When to Hold Fast. If I had known this was coming out, I would have just discarded Scholar's hand. But he draws a Grace Under Fire, one shot. The Scholar deals one target X radiant damage, where X equals the number of non-hero targets in play. Expect the worst, ongoing limited. Whenever the Scholar would be dealt damage, reduce that damage to 0. At the start of your turn, the Scholar regains 2 HP and destroys this card. Another Expect the Worst. Another Grace Under Fire. And another Get Out of the Way. Ra plays a Flesh of the Sun God. Ongoing, Ra is immune to fire damage. Power, hero character cards are immune to fire damage until the start of your next turn. That is an ongoing card. Haka plays an ongoing card, Enduring Intercession. Ongoing, redirect any damage... I already read this card, sorry. Not particularly exciting, but it does... you know, it is an ongoing card to destroy. Fanatic plays Holy Nova, one shot. Fanatic deals each non-hero target 1 radiant damage. Each hero target regains 1 HP. So at least we're regaining HP. Still don't have that third clue. And Diplomatic Envoy was the only diversion in the trash, so it's already back, but that's fine. Suspicious Malfunction. Ongoing clue! We got our third clue. You can proceed with the game. At the start of the villain turn, each player may destroy any of their equipment cards. Then, each hero target deals itself 4 minus X lightning damage, where X equals the number of equipment cards destroyed this turn. Alright, so we have to destroy 2 cards. 1 by misinformation, 1 by insider knowledge. Enduring Intercession is an easy choice here. We don't really want to redirect damage to Haka. Second choice, I mean, the Krakens are at least helping us with the Diplomatic Envoy, so I don't really need Drawn to the Flame. I would like to keep Flesh of the Sun God if I can especially get Imbued Fire out, because it will help us with the self-damage that we'll be doing when clues are destroyed. So let's lose Drawn to the Flame. Who's considered to have the second highest? That's Scholar. Talmoko helps here. But we now have 3 clues. That's good news. Good news number one is that when she flips, this card destruction in response to the number of diversions in play isn't acting, so hero cards will be more likely to stay in play. Second good news is we can destroy a clue, and we actually don't have to destroy Concealed Betrayal because we could just discard cards for that, even though we're really hurting for cards thanks to all of the forced discards. Like I said, your hands are not safe in this game. Insider Knowledge is pulling a diversion from the trash, which has consistently been Diplomatic Envoy. And the Krakens can continue to hit that Envoy all at once. So while this is providing damage reduction to misinformation, it is providing a consistent target for the Krakens that are not heroes. Suspicious Malfunction is probably the one that we're going to opt to destroy, since remember, at the start of her flipped side, a clue card is destroyed and we deal ourselves damage based on, or just, it is based on whether we destroy a card, rather. So if we destroy Suspicious Malfunction, which is certainly better, because this destroys equipments and then we deal damage based on the number of cards destroyed, more damage for fewer cards destroyed. So we can destroy Concealed Betrayal ourselves, and Insider Knowledge is just helping us with the envoys. Alright. So we know that she's flipping, and so since we know she's flipping, we can actually get a little more set up. We don't have to play cards for the sake of letting them be fodder. So what's the thing we can do to get more set up? Well, the Scholar has a Keep Moving, and he still has 2 elementals in his deck. He still has 1 Mortal Form to Energy in his deck. So he could use a Keep Moving to play into a Mortal Form to Energy, and we'll have 2 Mortal Forms to Energy. When he regains a hit point, he can deal 1 energy damage twice. He also has 2 copies of Get Out of the Way, so he could use this and regain hit points equal to the number of targets dealt damage this way, which is nice. On the other hand, we will be hitting ourselves, so if the Scholar hits himself for 2, with Flesh to Iron that would be reduced by 2, so he wouldn't hit himself at all, actually. And if I'm keeping Insider Knowledge out, then Get Out of the Way isn't as exciting because it wouldn't hit Misinformation, but it would hit the Envoy and the 2 Krakens at least. Oops. I could play Expect the Worst. That would reduce this damage to 0, which is sort of the same effect, except I would also regain 2 HP at the start of my turn. Bear in mind that Haka and Ra are now the 2 highest, so the Envoy's targeting those, but if Scholar has damage reduction... actually no, he won't be second highest still. Well, I think... Scholar's gonna have to discard some number of cards, because we need to be able to discard 4 cards to destroy Concealed Betrayal. I don't know. For the first time, I actually have choices, and it's so strange to have choices in this game. So certainly I don't want to play Get Out of the Ways when there isn't a Mortal Form to Energy out. I could just play 1 this turn, and then I could keep moving and Get Out of the Way the next turn if I want to. I could also just put a Flesh to Iron out because his HP is not actually as high as it used to be, so... Although I would probably prefer to Expect the Worst if I'm going to do that, so... Still not helping. I'm just going to get a Mortal Form to Energy out. When in doubt, Mortal Form to Energy, and I don't know that I really need to do this, but... Yeah, I'm just going to hit the Envoy. We'll deal with the consequences later. I draw another Keep Moving. I can deal 2 damage, or I can make us immune to fire damage, which doesn't help because there's no fire damage happening. Villain does not have fire damage in their deck, and Ruins of Atlantis does not have fire damage in their deck for sure, and I don't have an imbued fire out, so it's not going to help with our self-damage. So I could just skip. We have a Sanctifying Strike. I could use this to deal 1 point of damage to the envoy. And Haka doesn't have a card to play. So, who prefers to draw cards, Haka or Ra? I think Haka wants to try to get that imbued fire. So I'm gonna... Actually, no, we can skip with both Haka and Ra. Never mind. We'll skip here. I draw a Summon Staff and a Staff of Ra. So I can at least play the Summon Staff to get a second staff and a second card. Or, new card, rather. And Fanatic will be able to take care of the Diplomatic Envoy, so I'm gonna skip with Haka. We draw another Talmoko and another Haka of Battle. So by Sanctifying Strike the Diplomatic Envoy. Then I draw a card. That card is Embolden. Ongoing. Play this card next to a hero character card. That hero may use an additional power during their power phase. At the end of that hero's turn, Fanatic may deal them 2 radiant damage. If they take no damage this way, destroy this card. She regains hit point, and we can hit the Diplomatic Envoy. And we draw a Final Dive. Alright. Mystical Defenses. At the end of the environment turn, this card deals each non-environment target 2 energy damage. So that's only hitting us. 15 hit points is a lot though, so I don't know if we're gonna have a good way of dealing with that. But, da-da-da-da! It was you this entire time! Good, we can hit her now. Concealed Betrayal is destroying our cards. So I think we're going to destroy the Concealed Betrayal. And we are dealing ourselves damage. Thankfully reduced by Talmoko. Diversion is pulled from the trash, as always. Oh, I did that wrong, didn't I? I did that wrong. I could have destroyed this card myself, right? Okay, that's fine. I was going to destroy Insider Knowledge. No, I was going to destroy Suspicious Malfunction. That's what I was going to do. So this is a situation where I go, oh, I made a mistake, and now I don't want to rewind because I'll lose the mint. And since I'm trying to play this as if it is the weekly one-shot, so I can't rewind, even though this is no longer the active week, and I also have gotten the thing. Whatever. I'm just gonna proceed. It's only 4 damage. Old Lady in the Streets Return is hitting the lowest heroes, which includes Scholar. Actually, it's hitting Scholar and Fanatic. That's a little dangerous now. If I had thought a little better, I would have not had taken that 4 damage, but oh well. This is also pretty scary because now the Krakens are targeting us, so the Krakens really have to go. There are a number of targets in play. I'm gonna lose a Solid to Liquid for sure. We do have 2 Elementals in my deck, so I could actually... I could get the Solid to Liquid out in my deck as well as the Mortal Form to Energy, and then I could use Get Out of the Way, and I'll hit 5 targets, and I'll regain 6 HP. I could do 6 energy damage twice. I probably want to expect the worst, though. Just because I'm lowest, and I will be hit by Misinformation and by Diplomatic Envoy, or Old Lady in the Street rather, and the Kraken currently. I don't still have the thing that hits everything, and that's not exciting, and I don't know what else. I can at least Final Dive a Kraken. But I might want to use Consecrated Ground instead. I don't know. Okay, I think I do want to expect the worst. So if I'm expecting the worst, I'll regain 3 HP and I'll deal 3 damage twice as long as Solid to Liquid is out. and mortal forms to energy. So I'm going to do that. We're going to put all of these cards in play. And we're going to have Super Scholar here. Expect the worst. Now damage dealt to Scholars reduced to 0. Regain a hit point becomes 2 hit points, and I can do 2 energy damage twice. Oh man, Well, the clue that's pulling diversions from the trash isn't going to reveal a diversion if there are none in the trash, so I could just hit misinformation with this. She will retaliate, but it'll be reduced to 0. On the other hand, the Krakens are going to keep going after us unless we get one of these guys down to 7 or less. So how do we get one of these down to 7 or less? I think we're going to have to hit the old lady on the street. That's going to be a little easier. And 7 or less is easily doable with that one. Consecrated Ground will do 1 radiant damage. So I just have to do 4 damage to it between Raw, Haka, and Fanatic. I'm just going to hit Misinformation with Scholar's hits because Misinformation can't hit Scholar right now. So while she can't react, we're going to hit her. And I draw Grace Under Fire. Alright. Summon Staff lets me draw a card and play a card, so I'm going to do that. And I draw a Living Conflagration. So that card is exciting because it deals 2 damage when it enters play. And then I don't have to use the power on it. But I'm going to put the Staff of Ra out because I need to regain hit points. And I could throw the Staff, but this will do 3 points. And I could use this on the old lady in the street. And I draw a Flame Barrier. Ongoing limited. The first time Ra is dealt damage by a target each turn, Ra deals that target 2 fire damage. Not a good card when Ra hits himself, so we don't really want to use that. I don't really want to play the Haka of Battle. Misinformation will only retaliate her for 1 because of Talmoko, so it's not too bad if I play the Haka of Battle. I draw a Vitality Surge and a Dominion. I'm going to lose all 3 of these cards. Just to really increase my hit on Misinformation. This is now up to 4. And we draw a Vitality Surge. Alright, I really want to lose all of those clues. So we're going to Consecrate Ground. And I'm going to lose the I'm going to lose the Insider Knowledge. Wait. If I do this, she will be hit by Misinformation if I target her. On the other hand, if I destroy this, Mystical Defenses will hit her for more. And I can hit the old lady in the streets and the Diplomatic Envoy, and I'm gonna have to hit the Mystical Defenses, I guess. And I'm gonna do 2 points of damage to the old lady in the streets. We draw another Sacrosanct Martyr. We have not drawn the Nuke card. And we have another Kraken, which is going after Fanatic after the first 2 Krakens finish this card. And then the 2 energy damage to everyone, including Misinformation, who doesn't react because it's not a hero target. And then the Kraken takes out Fanatic. Unfortunately, we could not keep her alive. So the only clue in play destroyed itself, and now everyone hits themselves. And missing resources, number 4. This is really bad right now because Scholar wanted to be able to play one-shots. And if Scholar reveals a one-shot, he loses too many cards. This is really bad. This is honestly looking really bad right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 one-shots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ongoings. So we know what, but we do know the bottom of the card of the deck is a one-shot. So that's really 8 one-shots for ongoings. We want to avoid that. 2, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12, 14, 15 ongoings. So Ra's easier. Ra's more likely to reveal an ongoing. Haka, 1, 2, 4, 6. I'm gonna reveal Ra's deck. Ra reveals ongoing. That's what I wanted to reveal. So 2 damage to the 2 lowest, and then 2 and 2 to the 2 highest. Alright. I have to lose 3 cards to keep my mortal forms to energy and solid to liquid out. Okay, Grace Under Fire. There are 6 cards in play, but Grace Under Fire's, or Get Out of the Way is gonna deal. I'm gonna regain 7 hit points with Get Out of the Way, so I want to keep Get Out of the Ways. So I'm gonna lose the Grace Under Fires. I regain 3 hit points. Now I can hit Misinformation. And now that I'm hitting her now, she's reacting and hitting me while I still have the damage reduction. So I've already used that up. And now I can play Get Out of the Way. And now I'll hit 6 targets for 1, and I'll regain 7 hit points thanks to Solid to Liquid that I can use to hit Misinformation some more. So I regain to 7, and now I can hit Misinformation twice. She's very low. We can even try to get the Krakens to take her out. So if I regain this 2, I just bounced from lowest to highest. This is actually looking pretty good. It would have been terrible if I discarded one-shots. I wouldn't have been able to do this, and I wouldn't have been able to deal as much damage with Scholar if I had discarded one-shots. But thankfully we kept the one-shots. We drew a Truth Seeker. Have I ever seen that card? I have not. Interesting. Truth Seeker. Ongoing limited. Power. The Scholar deals 1 target 2 melee damage. Draw 1 card. It's basically Mare, except it's Scholar and it's ongoing. Alright. Krakens are currently targeting Ra, so we need to be able to get Misinformation low enough for the Krakens to want to hit Misinformation and not Ra. Unfortunately, if I hit her with Ra, she will retaliate and hit Ra for 2. But if I throw the staff at her, she'll take 4. So it will at least lessen the difference between Ra and Misinformation. Fanatic's incapabilities. 1 player may play a card, 1 hero regains 2 HP, select a hero, increase the next damage dealt by that hero by 2. Guess what? We can have Scholar play Get Out of the Way, and that would definitely win the game for us. So it doesn't really matter what I do with Ra. Let's double check. Scholar's maximum HP is 29, so he can only stand to regain 8 hit points. But if he plays a Get Out of the Way on Fanatic's turn, then he'll regain 7 hit points, and he'll still be able to deal 7 hit points twice to Misinformation. So Ra doesn't need to deal damage, so we're just not going to do that. We draw a Flame Spike, and since we skipped our play in Power, we drew a Flame Barrier. Haka might as well play Vitality Surge, because he'll regain hit points, just in case I'm slightly off. So Vitality Surge, he regained 2 hit points, and he drew an Enduring Intercession, and he might as well hit Misinformation, because it will be a profit of damage. And we draw an Elbow Smash, 1 shot. Haka deals 1 target 3 melee damage. And now we win the game. We have Scholar play a card, we play the other Get Out of the Way, and this first hit will force her to retaliate, but it won't kill Scholar. So actually Scholar could stand to regain more hit points, but we're capped at, we were only ever going to get 7 back, and we might as well take out Misinformation. And that's it. We successfully minted, despite the mistake I made in which clue card to destroy, and that actually is what caused Fanatic to die. Not that I could have known it at the time, but Fanatic's death was caused by the third Kraken coming out. If Fanatic had more hit points, she would have survived that. Although she might have still died to misinformation's damage on the flip side. But anyway, that was a little annoying. As I said, your hands are not safe in this game, and she played 5 copies of, or she played Missing Resources 5 times, I think, was the final total, or 4 times. I lost count after 3. But all of those forced discards, as well as the card that said we all had to destroy our cards in play or discard our hands, it's really annoying. It's actually part of the reason that, like, I'm not fully sure that the strategy of, like, on her front side, just not playing anything or using powers is the optimal strategy, because your hands aren't safe. So, like, you probably should play one-shots if they benefit people somehow, like if you can regain hit points and stay alive for longer, or if you can take out the not distractions. It's a D word, I just can't remember what it is. I just played the entire game with these and I don't remember what they were. Diversion. If you can take out a diversion by playing cards, you probably should play cards. It especially would have hurt us a lot if we had kept the diversion that said if you have 3 or more cards in play, destroy 1, or the player with the most cards in play destroys 1. If we kept those in play the entire game, we really would not have been able to get set up. And we still weren't really set up optimally, but that's what misinformation does, is it changes the way you play, or want to play. This was the 3rd one-shot, and just to look back on them, the first 2 one-shots, first one was Mad Bomber Blade, and that was a pretty simple game. I guess I'll pull it up. A rather simple game. If you watched this video 2 weeks ago, then you saw how simple it was. And I said that was fine for it being the first weekly one-shot. Hunter and Hunted was the 2nd weekly one-shot, and it features Ambuscade, who is usually one of the easiest villains due to how low HP he has, and he completely outright lacks hero card destruction. But he can get tricky, especially if he combos certain cards, and this one-shot did feature that. Regardless, I did have a pretty fun time last week with this, utilizing a volcanic eruption, making all hero targets immune to fire damage thanks to the combination of Flesh of the Sun God and Enduring Intercession saving Unity's bots. But the 3rd one, Rescue Under the Sea, you saw was rather tricky, and a lot of people had issues winning this one-shot, and it was one of the first of several difficult one-shots. I don't think the one next week was necessarily difficult, but I don't know, you'll see. But it was the first difficult weekly one-shot there was, and of course every time there's a difficult one-shot people complain about how these decks are stacked, and they weren't really stacked in this game as far as I could tell. Like, we certainly didn't start with a clue on the first turn, and Scholar started with a lot of elementals on the top of his deck. Fanatic never drew End of Days or Wrathful Retribution, but I'm not sure that those things were specifically planned. They just fell the way they were by the developers. But anyway, I'm rambling again. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this Sentinels Fridays number 3 with weekly one-shot number 3, and I hope you tune in on Monday for the new weekly one-shot and next Friday for Sentinels Fridays number 4. This is Lou Dolphin. Have a good night.